All right. Yes. Welcome, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Talking about today what it is with MintBuilder, how we can help people basically supercharge their wealth. And that's what it is that we're all about here at MintBuilder. Basically giving people the power to build true wealth, kind of become your own bank, kind of, stop the bleeding of the inflation in your own household. And that's what it's all about here at MintBuilder. So let me just go ahead and jump right into it. So our currency is on its way to zero. Most of you on here probably know that already, but what can you do about it to protect yourself? Because there is something you can do. And again, here at MintBuilder, financial wellness, that's our mission. That's what we do. We're helping thousands of people to be able to get on the right track, and get rid of that fake currency and get something different, something a little more, a little more tangible. And that's real money. Currency is being devalued, but real money never gets devalued. So most of us dream of achieving financial security. These are kind of the main things people think about, becoming wealthy and then living on your own terms, but unfortunately the reality is that most never realize their dreams. And it's not because they can't, it's because they're just missing the right actions. And this is something that I've learned over the last couple of decades of being in the precious metals industry and also in business and just reading and studying and learning different things. You basically nowadays you can learn pretty much anything you want to learn, mostly for free. So I highly encourage that, especially when it comes to finances, because that is a really big part of our life. And really, it's our behavior that promotes our success or lack thereof. And like I said, or it's going to ensure that we stay broke. So it's really about making a change. And it's funny because, people say, wealth is, it's just luck, you're lucky. And I've heard this a bunch of times. And, while there is an element of luck behind it, I agree. You have to position yourself in the right place to be lucky, because if you're not in that position, your chances of the luck coming to you is very little. But if you get yourself in the right position, you're doing the right things, you're being consistent by it, it's going to happen. So it's really about education, getting the proper kind of education. I'm not just talking about university. I'm talking about, in this instance, the proper financial education, stuff that we're not really taught in schools. And then taking the education that you learn and planning with that education. And then consistency, doing the same thing over and over again. If you're getting results, keep doing it. If you're not getting results, maybe rethink the planning a little bit. And that is how people can start achieving their dreams that they're trying to accomplish, at least on the financial side of things. Now, I believe saving is the first step. And I'm not talking about sticking money into a savings account or putting it under cash under your mattress, because you're going to be losing, on average 5%. We really know that in reality, inflation is much, much higher. A lot of people are saying it's actually around 18%, or even I've heard some people say higher than that. Just kind of look at your cost of goods, your food and other things that you're utilizing. So saving something different is important. And I showed you at the beginning already what I believe it is. It's real money, it's assets. But most people mistake saying that I can't start saving until I start making more money. And guess what? You start making more money. Let's say that happens. Well, all of a sudden your expenses increase somehow, some way, right? And then this is continual process. You make a little bit more money. Either expenses are increasing or it's just inflation, but either way, it isn't going to happen unless you start where you are currently. So there are ways we're going to talk about in a little bit in here that you can start small or big. We have both in the MintBuilder family here. So it's all about, like I said, it's all about planning, education, consistency, not about making more money to be able to save first. And then it's starting with emergency fund. You should have, the goal should be to try to get a month's worth of income put away, your month's worth of expenses put away. And then it should be 3, 6, and 12. Once you get to 12, the excess money should be put somewhere else, somewhere where it can, do some bigger things for you, perhaps. And then you can expedite the savings with assets. Precious metals, as I was showing you before, precious metals, specifically what you can afford. Like this is a 10 gram. It's a little bit bigger piece. We have pieces as small as half gram gold, and we have silver as small as a tenth of an ounce. Or you can get up to, on an auto asset, you can get up to a 10 ounce, and we have kilo bars and things like that as well. So precious metals is the way we believe in saving. all paper fiat currency, most mistakenly called money, it's actually not. It's IOU, it's debt, is on a path to zero. Okay, it all started really in 1913 when the Federal Reserve was created. That's when it started the decline, and then it got to a point around World War II where Roosevelt actually had to say, you know what, we can't allow the American citizens to hold gold anymore, so we have to make it illegal. But don't worry, we're going to pay you for it. And so they paid people for it. It wasn't necessarily a fair value; it was very undervalued, but what they were paid for it. But there was a reason. They said the reason is because they were trying to stop a run on gold and silver, because at the time the world was starting to lose faith in the U.S. dollar, despite the Federal Reserve, and so they were saying people were trying to get their gold from other countries. They were turning in all of their the IOUs, if you will, the gold-backed currency, and they were trying to take physical delivery of gold, and so that where the Federal Reserve was supposed to be keeping the proper amount of gold in storage for how much goldbacks they were sending out, money that was backed by gold at the time, but they weren't. And so that caused a major issue. So he's like, okay, we better get more gold here. So that's the real reason they were trying to actually bail out the Federal Reserve is what they were doing. And the government's been involved with the banking system since the Federal Reserve is not part of the government. I think most people are starting to fully understand that now. The Federal Reserve is a private entity. Now people are starting to understand how that is, and really the government really didn't have business bailing out the Federal Reserve, and it goes back to J.P. Morgan bailing out us as a country as well. It's kind of been that kind of a relationship. So now, meantime, we can't own gold and silver anymore. 1944, the Bretton Woods establishment was set up, so the U.S. dollar, as the world's currency, it's saying, you know what, let's make it so that you don't have to have all of the gold to back all the currency we're printing, so we can print a little bit more currency, like double the amount of currency than what we actually have stored. And then all of a sudden Nixon came in and had to close the window permanently. Now, what that means is he spun it in a way that said positive, said, oh, you know what, you guys don't have to worry about trying to secretly own gold anymore. We're going to open it up and make it legal for everybody to own gold again. And so that was cool. It sounded really like a really good thing that was happening, but really what was happening was there was greed set in, and the government wanted to be able to print more money as much as it wanted. So then he basically took us off the entire gold standard. So now they can print to oblivion, which has been happening ever since then. We're in so much debt, there's no possible way to ever pay it off. And we don't even want to try to pay it off, because if we did, we would go into probably the biggest deflation that our country has ever seen, or any part of the world has ever probably seen. And it's impossible to pay off. So what's going to happen is the currency is going to change. We're going to change to a different kind, just like we have in the past. This was one currency when it was all backed by gold. It was a different currency when it was partially backed. Then there's a whole different currency when it wasn't backed by anything. And now we're in a digital world, so we're looking at a whole different kind of currency, potentially not being US currency, is not the world reserve currency anymore. And we're looking at that with the BRICS nation and things like that happening. But we're not gonna go into depth on that tonight, but that is a good thing to look into. So precious metals is your safe haven to protect yourself from all the bad stuff I was just talking about. You can actually profit from this, and it's kind of a big thing that's going on right now. There is going to be a huge wealth transfer. People are going to be, there's going to be a shift of all of a sudden this person had some money, now they don't have any money. This person may not have any money and they're going to be wealthy. And then there's going to be some that are ultra wealthy now, they're going to be even more ultra wealthy. There's going to be a lot of shifting going on. And I believe those who hold precious metals are going to be some of the ones who are going to be the most that benefit from that. So basically, you want to charge up your wealth right now. This is the time to do it. We don't want to wait, hold off. It's going to be, I believe there's still time to do it, but the people who are getting involved in it sooner are going to be the ones who are going to benefit the most from it. And, kind of like the whole Bitcoin thing, not to get into cryptocurrency. There's a lot of opinions of that. I'm not a huge advocate, but I'm also not against it. But I think it was kind of the same idea. Those who got in early on obviously benefited more. Well, this is a little different because we're talking about something that's fiat. Sorry, not fiat, but finite. meaning that there's only so much of it on the planet. And it's always been considered real money for thousands of years. It's the only thing, the only economical system that has ever worked in the entire planet and was sustainable. It was the closest thing to being a perfect economic system when we were using gold and silver. Unfortunately, because it is limited, and that's what makes it almost perfect, people, get greedy and they say, well, we want more of it. And now we have to keep printing more money in order to just stay afloat. That's the only way we can do it. If we ever stop getting further in debt, it's going to crash. It's a Ponzi scheme. We live in a Ponzi scheme. Our entire planet that's run on fiat currency is a Ponzi. So this is where we're at with real assets. We need to have that. We need to individually do it. And that's why we're here at MintBuilder, is we want to help as many families as possible to be able to accumulate as much precious metals as possible. I don't care if it's gold or if it's silver. You got some platinum, palladium too, but they're all good. There's different things about them I'm going to talk about in just a little bit, but it's so important for families to be able to hold as much of it as possible right now. Now, there's going to come a time, which I'll also talk about, where you want to sell it. And it's not only just about buy, it's also how can I profit from it? So that's something you don't hear a lot of people talking about, especially precious metals companies, because they just want you to continue to buy. But again, there's going to be a moment where there's going to be people waiting to sell, and that'll be your opportunity. Now, there's a little known fact that banks are literally trading the paper currency that they're pushing on us. They're trading it for silver and gold. For example, JP Morgan owns over 600 million ounces of silver. That's all that's confirmed, but some people believe it's potentially over 700 million ounces of silver. Now, why would they do that when they're telling us, to make sure that we put money in the bank and have savings and all this kind of stuff, when that's not what the people who are executives and owners of banks, they're not doing that. It's really important to maybe look at what are they doing, maybe, emanate that instead of making up our, and just listening to what they're saying to do. We have to ask ourselves, why are they doing that? But most people are going to go on oblivious, and they're just going to be like, oh yeah, it's JP Morgan, they're a bank, they can afford to do it. But why are they doing it? We have to ask ourselves that. Why are they doing that? The world paper fiat currency is changing. They know it. Most banks were completely against cryptocurrency for a long time. I can tell you as a business owner that, because, we have multiple merchant accounts, and PayPal and stuff like that as well. They did not like the crypto world, because it took money away from them. It's kind of like a mafia. I want to make sure I'm coming in and getting a part of it, but all of a sudden now they're getting their hands involved in crypto. So now it's okay if you're dealing with it how they want you to deal with it. So it's kind of funny how that works. Now, here's what I wanted to show you. This is a new part we added to the presentation that took some time for me to build out and run numbers on, and basically utilize a lot of stuff that experts have been putting out there for a long time. And it's called the 50-year pendulum. Okay, pendulum. And this is something that I've been, like I said, been putting together. And it's really funny because whenever people say, well, that's expensive or that's actually really cheap, what are they comparing it to? The US dollar or the British pound or the yen, or whatever country that you're in. It's being compared to fiat currency. So when you say, oh, my house price went up in value, did your house really go up in value, or did your money go down in how much purchasing power it had? And so the only real way to know if things that we need are going up in value or down in value, to see if they're priced correctly, or they're overpriced, underpriced, or overpriced. That's only two ways to really look at it. And the way to do it is to compare it to commodities, assets, commodities. You got oil, you got grains, you can have gold and silver is a good example of that. There's so many things. I used to do day trading with commodities back in the late 90s. And it was really interesting, doing that kind of trading. But this is exactly those are the things that really set the fair tone of what is valued at what. Okay, it's really what is someone willing to pay for, but based on something that's real tangible. So I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you gold versus housing. Okay, So just so you know, this is based on 50 years, okay? And the median house price in gold over the last 50 years has been 209 ounces of gold. I can say that exactly, almost exactly. My house, this house, the house that I had bought was 1960 is when it was built, and it would have cost about 200, I think 203 is what I figured, ounces of 1960, year 1960 gold. So whatever gold was selling for in 1960, it would have taken about 203 ounces of it to buy the house. Now, when I bought this house that I currently bought, it cost me about 200 ounces of gold. So it didn't change in price. So even though the house went from, a few $1,000s all the way up to, about a $500,000, it doesn't matter. It's still, the house is still 200 ounces of gold. So what does that mean? The house didn't appreciate. The house, it did what it was supposed to do. Housing is kind of, it's a debt, but it's also, it can be considered an asset. That's a whole nother topic to talk about as well. But the house did what it was supposed to do. It kind of maintained its thing. And so that's a really interesting thing. Now, in 2022, with the median house prices, we had a spike, right? And everybody's like, well, housing is way overpriced now. Well, not really. It was kind of had a little catching up to do after the whole crisis of 2007, 2008. So yeah, it was a slightly overpriced compared to gold. It was 4% over. Now this year, obviously I can't really put the numbers because the year is only, a third of the way over, so I can't show the whole numbers. But I can tell you so far that it's come down. So it's about like 102, 101%. So housing is pretty much right on the money. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the housing is overvalued or undervalued? It means that it's pretty much right on where it should be. So that would be something that, if you have a house, great, you're sitting in a pretty decent spot with it. That's good. Now, what about with silver? Now, silver being an asset that's being consumed, actually, not hoarded as like gold is. Because silver is like, I'm surprised Elon Musk, if he hasn't bought hundreds of millions of ounces, because he needs a lot of it for his Teslas and for SpaceX. That's just one example. All the solar power, our cell phones, everything like that, mechanical wise, takes a little bit of silver in it. It's being consumed, and it's going to be really hard to mine it back out. Silver will have to go into like the $400 or $500 an ounce range for people to buy up landfills just to buy and try to mine for silver out of equipment. That's going to be a really big deal for that to happen. Otherwise, it's basically consumed. And so silver is very undervalued right now. And this has got my attention as someone who's been in the precious metals industry since the late 90s. Now, the median house over the last 50 years costs about 12,400 ounces of silver. So that's how much silver you need to buy a house. Now, today, or as of 2022, for the median house price, you need 18,000 ounces of silver. That means that it's went up almost 50%, 145%. So this tells you then that according to silver, when you compare it to silver, housing is a little bit overpriced when it comes to silver, and that silver is very underpriced. So the idea of this pendulum is that it should be right here. It should be hanging straight down. And when the pendulum goes to the right, that means that the asset, the commodity that you're comparing to the main things that we need is undervalued and is a great bargain to purchase. And when there's something on the left over here, that means that you should sell it more than likely, because that means that it's that one thing is way overpriced. So if actually, I want to get ahead of myself. I want to show you something else that's really cool. So now I'm going to use the Dow Jones Industry Average. This one's really cool because everybody preaches about the Dow Jones industry. And I'm telling you, statistically, and looking at numbers, now this is my opinion only. I can't tell you what to do. And we definitely are not an investment. And if you saw the disclaimer at the beginning, we are financial experts, but we're not financial brokers. But you can look into it yourself. This is really neat, the data behind this. So based on 50 years of the Dow Jones industry, the median, it takes about 8 ounces of gold to buy 1 share of Dow. So that's the normal, okay? Now, as of 2022, it takes 19 ounces of gold to buy 1 share of Dow. So that is way on the right side for telling me that gold is way undervalued right now, and that the Dow Jones is in a perfect spot for, if you own it, to sell it, because that means that the Dow Jones would be over here. It's always the exact opposite. So it'd be on this side, and it has to come back to here. That's the norm, right? And it's gonna do it eventually. And when a pendulum swings, it usually overcorrects a little bit, and then it comes, back and it corrects, and then it gets there. And then other things are gonna come up in the world, and it's gonna change again and get manipulated again. But so what happens if you have Dow Jones right now, and if gold is this undervalued for Dow Jones, and if you sold Dow Jones, right, and it swung, and let's say that it swung and even overcorrected just a little tiny bit, that means that the Dow Jones would drop consistently, right? It would drop pretty far, and then gold will be more expensive. So at this point, gold will be cheaper. So right now, this means that gold is really cheap. It's a bargain right now. And then when it overcorrects, then gold will be cheap. So right now, Dow Jones is overpriced, so it's a really good selling point. Everybody always says, I wish I knew when the peak of something was so I could sell it. Well, it's a good indicator right now that it's pretty high. Again, this is speculation. You can run your own numbers, but statistically, 8 ounces of gold is what it usually takes to buy a share of Dow, and that's where it's at. So if it swung back and it ended up being like, let's say, 6 ounces, Mike Maloney, the guy who does this silver gold, he says that he thinks the more accurate number is 4 or 5 ounces of gold for 1 share of Dow. So I'm on the high side, but let's just say that it swung down to 6. And now, what if you sold all your gold and silver? Because at that point, gold is going to be so high priced. Everybody does the opposite of everything they should do. So when something goes up really high, everybody chases it and buys it. And then when it all drops to the bottom, everybody sells. And so it's better to not do what they're doing and to do something a little different. So when all of a sudden, the Dow drops all the way to where it only takes 6 or 7 ounces of gold to buy it, that's the time to buy Dow and to sell your gold and silver. And then all of a sudden, when the Dow goes back up where it takes 10, 12 ounces of gold to buy it, sell the Dow and buy gold, because then gold will be affordable. So you see how I'm doing? You can literally, that's a way to make a lot of money quicker than just holding on to the gold and silver. So this is what I was saying. There are opportunities to actually profit, and then rebuy and then reprofit, and then sell and then reprofit, instead of just holding for forever and ever. Now, what about silver? So it usually takes about 545 ounces of silver for 1 share of the Dow, but as of last year, it takes 1,590. So it's 300% too high compared to what it should be for the average price of silver. So I'm showing all indicators that silver is the most undervalued, with housing and with the Dow. So personally, that's what I'm spending on. And again, I think of silver and gold as a savings, not investing. It depends on how you do it. Like I'm talking about here, maybe you can consider it that way, but it is a savings. It's your return on savings, because it is it's a better way of saving. And it's also a little bit harder to spend. Whereas if you just save cash under your pillow or in the bank, it's so easy just to transfer it into your checking. And that banks like that because they want you to spend it. They don't like you to be just sitting on it there. But this is a good example right now of what potential can happen. So again, when the pendulum swings, it usually overcorrects. So let's say that it corrects to 475 ounces of silver. What if at that point you sold all of your silver and then you bought it down? What you would be sitting so good. And then when it goes back up again, you could buy silver so cheap, you'll probably end up buying 10 or 12,000 ounces of silver without even doing anything. So just kind of something to wrap your head around, and really powerful information. Again, what I talked about in the beginning, I said, It's really about learning first, proper kind of education to help yourself out. And then it's about practicing what you learn and being consistent with it. So precious metals come in two distinct forms. We're going to transition a little bit here. Bullion, kind of what I've been just talking about, really. And a lot of people don't really know about it, but numismatics is another way that you can save your silver and gold. But first, let's talk about bullion. So bullion's crisis protection. It's insurance against inflation, insurance for your wealth protection. It has lower premiums, so you can get more of it for the money. It's outperformed cash savings, obviously. Numismatics, on the other hand, is a little different. It's a value above the market spot price and of bullion, and it's not really dependent on the market. So if silver, let's say today is $25, and let's say tomorrow it's $50, your numismatics probably aren't going to necessarily jump that $25 just because the market jumped, but they do value differently, and I'll give you some examples. Now, one of the cool things is most, but not all, numismatics are sonically sealed, especially when it comes to more modern day numismatics. When you have the ancient coins and or treasure wrecks, things from hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago, any range in there, a lot of times those aren't graded. Sometimes they are, and those are still considered numismatic or semi-numismatic and have value. Let me just give you some examples. Here's a coin we had a few years ago, cost $45. Now the coin is selling for 175 plus in just a few short years. So that's kind of cool. It's a 95% value increase per year. Now, you're not going to always hit a home run. What really matters is kind of look at the quantity that was minted and then look at the quantity that was graded at the highest grade. And for example, this here is an MS 70. So that's the highest grade you can have. It starts at 1 and goes to 70. So that's a really good thing to always look at. And then how many, you can go to, for example, you can go to NGC and you can enter in the serial number, and it'll tell you how many of these coins did they grade at MS 70. And that's really cool because now you kind of have an idea. Was there 10,000 graded at that? Were there only 300? Were there only 80? Sometimes we have coins that are less than 100. Now you know those have a potential to increase a little bit better. Here's another really cool one. This was one of the first series that came out. It's like concaved, so it's kind of a dome shaped, and it's a proof coin, which means it's double struck, ultra cameo. It's got shiny features and dull features mixed in. That's a special striking that they do. When this came out, like I said, it was the first of its kind. Our members were paying about $150 per coin. People are like, oh, it's 1 ounce of silver. Why would I pay $150 for 1 ounce? When I could just, at that time, I think it was an ounce of silver was like under 30 bucks. So they're like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. But some people got the idea. This is the first of its kind. There's very low mintage, very, very few that were 70. And now the coin is selling for $800, a lot of times even upwards to $1,100. And what if you bought 10 or 20? We had people do that. We had some people really, really buy it and step it up and buy some of these numismatics. Now, the secret to the numismatic game is that's a little bit different than the bullion game. Is it's all about your access point and price. So even though our members were paying $150, you're like, well, I don't have to be a member. I could just went and bought this myself. Well, everybody else in the marketplace was paying about $300 for the coin. That's the secret. The secret is getting the coins like way below market price. So that way, when you buy it, you're already in the profit and you're not like stressing, okay, well, I bought it for $3 and I can only sell it for $250 and I'm already out $50. And how long is it going to be till I get my money? The key is getting it at that wholesale, below wholesale pricing. And that's what our members get. Now, moving into a little bit further, I've been bringing up the terminology members. What is members? So here at MintBuilder, there's two distinct people. We have wholesale customers. That makes up about 86 of all of our clientele are wholesale customers, and they are people who purchase wholesale memberships, kind of like Costco and Sam's. And they also purchase precious metals, and they're not an affiliate, referring for us. They are a wholesale customer just because they want to buy silver and gold at the best price anywhere. And then we have affiliates. That's the other side of the coin here at MintBuilder. And that's about 14% of our clientele. They sell wholesale customer memberships, they sell precious metals, and they build a sales organization that does the same thing. Now, it's not for everybody, obviously, as you can see. It's not for 86% of the people. But for those who are looking to, create an extra stream of income, that possibility is there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about what is a wholesale customer here at MintBuilder and what's the benefit? How can it benefit you? So the memberships come in two forms. We have the basic wholesale membership and the pro. You can also purchase those in as an annual membership and save a whole bunch of money doing that. And so with these memberships, with the basic, you're going to save about 10% on auto assets, which I'll show you what those are in a little bit. And you're going to double down on your savings with the pro membership, which is about everything with the pro. It's almost double your savings and benefits you'll see as you go through it. Now, in the shop is just our retail store. We try to keep about 250 to 300 items in there at all times. And of course, we have our full-on bullion section, which is super hot right now with everything that's going on in the market. Bullion is in high demand. With a basic, you're going to save about 15% on average, and with a pro, 30%. The metal storage, a lot of people don't like to keep the metals in their own house. You're going to save about 30% with the basic, and with the pro, 100%. What does that mean? It's free. Our pro members get storage for free. So that's a really cool benefit. That can cost a lot of money. We have some people storing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, that pays for the pro membership all by itself every month. The storage, does add up. And we do have a nonprofit organization, and as a basic member, you're contributing a meal every month, and with the pro, 2 meals every month. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. And you're gonna get your precious metals knowledge base, which I'll show you briefly what that is in a second. Open vault marketplace. If you ever want to sell your precious metals, you can sell back to us. But also, there's like kind of like an eBay almost, but without the bidding. You can just list the products you have, and then people can contact you, and they can pay you directly. And it just makes it a nice. People are always asking, okay, well, I got the metals, I want to sell. How do I do it? There's multiple ways. Well, we just created one more way just to make it easier for our members. And 100% shop buyback guarantee. So we buy back all the products that we're selling currently in our shop, and we pay you the full member price for it. So if you bought silver for $30 and it goes up a little bit, so now it's 35, you can sell it back to us and you made money on it. So you can even make money buying from us and selling back to us. Its potential is definitely there, especially in the bull market that we're in right now. And you get one free 10th ounce silver round every month. It's just a freebie that we send out. It's kind of a cool small piece of silver. It's nice to have fractional pieces of silver for those who are thinking, our economy might get a little bit rough. So I like having different denominations of silver. And with the pro member, you're getting 2 of those every single month. You also have free full affiliate platform access. So as a wholesale member, if you choose to be in that 14% that likes to create extra income and refer other people to start saving to help people, other families and friends and things like that, you can do that. But you're not considered an affiliate unless you do earn income referring. So, but it's free. You don't have to pay for that as a wholesale member. You also have access to my Mint Wallet, which is a digital trading. I'm going to show you a little bit about it. It's really cool. New feature we just added recently. You get free, as a pro member, you get a free premium hurdler app. It's neat. It's a tracking. You can track your mileage automatically while you're driving. So you can, if you have a business, you can write off more stuff. It keeps track of tax things for you. It's a really nice add-on feature. We have discounts on travel and attraction. People are like, well, what's that really have to do with wholesale, precious metals? Well, I'm telling you, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I use this all the time, at least every single month. And it is the best pricing I've found anything anywhere. And it even has discounts even on insurance, for example. But it, most people use it for, going to hotels or going to like Disney World or places like that. And they're doing cruise ship stuff too. Might as well save. We're all about like saving real assets, but you might as well save on everything else that you spend too. And that's an add-on benefit for the pro membership. Now, the auto assets I was talking about before. Now, these are in addition to our shop, where I told you we have like 250 items in our shop. You can add these onto an automatic savings program. So you can set it and forget it. So say you want a gram of gold every month, you can click on the quantity that you want each month. And then maybe next month you want to change it. You can come over here to say, I want a 5-ounce silver bar. I want an MS70 Silver Eagle. I want a couple of those each month. You can add and change them. You can stop it. You can go to zero it out if you want for 1 month, and it's totally under your control. You don't have to contact us. This is there for you to do. It's easy to use. We try to make everything as simple as possible here at MintBuilder, and that's a really cool auto savings feature that we have. Now, again, with the basic membership, you're going to save on these compared to what our retail customers pay. And then as a pro, you're getting these below wholesale cost on any of the items that you see here. Just look at some of the items. We have the platinum grams, the gold grams. We have 5 and 10 ounce silver bars, 1 ounce silver rounds. Here's the 10th ounce silver I was talking about. We send you some of these free with your membership each month. We have the 2.5 gram, the 5 gram, 10 grams gold, in bars. MS70 Silver Eagle is the most treasured bought coin in the entire planet. It's the most popular coin ever, and so you have all these to your disposal. Beautiful products. Again, we have our storage we offer, you get discounts and free for pro. We have our MyMint wallet, and we also have a sacred account. These two are brand new features. I'm going to go in depth on that. This I'm just going to in a second, but this I'm just going to talk about. The sacred account is basically you becoming your own bank, and while you're your own bank, you also have life insurance. So it's a whole life cash policy that you're able to use and earn interest on your money while it's in there. You can, take a loan from yourself and pay for stuff. I use it. I have it. My wife has it. We oftentimes buy big items using that. And even though I'm slowly paying it back to myself in there, even though it's not there, let's say I took 15,000 out, and now you're thinking, well, you can't earn interest on it because you just took it out. Well, you do. You still earn interest as if it's there, as if you never took it out. It's still paying you interest. So that's something the bank does not do. Try making interest on your CD in your bank, your certificate of deposit. If you take it out, you're not going to do it. If you try taking money out of your 401k, if you try taking money out of anything, they're not going to keep paying you, but they do with the sacred account. So I love that feature of being able to be your own bank. Stop taking loans out from the banks and paying them the interest. Just be able to take and use your own money for yourself. Now here's a MyMint wallet. This is what it looks like when you log into your account. You're able to buy gold and silver. You can sell it. You can transfer it. You can do this instantly. It all happens in seconds, okay? And you can buy gold as small as 1/100th of an ounce. So you're talking like just barely over $20. You can buy that small of amount of gold, and silver you can buy as small as 1 ounce. And this is a really cool platform. It took us lots of months and lots of time and money to make it, but it is so awesome. This is probably one of our most popular new features that we have. And this shows you how much you have currently put into savings, right? With gold and silver, right? And then here's the money I've taken out or I transferred. So transferring means you can take your gold and silver shares you have, not really shares, it's actual real physical. Oh, that's a good thing to understand. This silver and gold that you're buying is physically backed. So when you purchase it, we're putting through our partner IDS of Delaware and IDS of Texas, one of the most trusted vaults in the United States, the most secure, insured by Lloyd's of London. And they have third-party auditing coming in all the time, and they're very, very well known in the industry. They physically take gold and silver and put it into our allocated storage every time someone buys their shares. So you're not just buying digital cryptocurrency, you're buying real physical silver and gold that's being stored for free. And you can transfer that to anybody that you have within the MintBuilder system that has a MyMint wallet. You can transfer it to them. You can sell it, and it all is instantly happening, right? And you can buy it. So it's really cool, really fast, really easy. So this is the amount of gold spot price on my demo account when we were setting up that I bought. And this is the silver that I bought, the spot price during that time. And then I sold and transferred some. And this was the total amount that I actually was out of pocket. That's how much that I spent after taking some money back from selling it. Now, this is the next section below it. And this is telling me the value of my gold holdings, right? And my silver holdings currently as of spot price, because you can see how it's moved with me buying it and with the market. So my value of my holdings is 1411. Again, my total expense is 1,009. So I've come out over $400 ahead since doing this back in, when did we start doing this? It looks like the end of last year was when we set this up and started doing testing and buying and selling. So not too bad. And then underneath there's a little scroll chart. You can scroll through and you can see when you sold, when you purchased, when you transferred, how much it was, how much you made. So all this is kept track of for you. It's really cool. And like when you do push the sell button to sell, there's a different page I don't have here in your back office where it has a wallet. It's called My Mint Wallet Cash, cash wallet. So you have the money there. You can, as soon as you sell, you can instantly go into the shop and buy something physically from the shop right away. So you don't have to like try to find a buyer and then the buyer has to send you a check, or you have to drive around town to a gold and silver shop and then you gotta like hope that they're not trying to rip you off. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You sell it and then within seconds the money is in your wallet and then you can go right to the shop and buy something. Or you can have your account set to be deposited into your checking account, and every Monday, so it's a weekly payroll system, it'll automatically send the funds out to your checking account, so you can actually cash out from your sale as well. So it's a really cool feature, really simple, and everybody loves it because of it's instant. You don't have to wait for it. You can buy, sell. So it's kind of like trading, but you're trading with real physical silver and gold, and it's more of a, like I said, it's like a savings trading, if you will. Now, I told you a little bit about the knowledge base earlier. It's one of the benefits of our members. We have all this stuff in here that tells you everything you need to know. One of the cool new features is the MintBuilder Academy. So it teaches you to understand. We have one coming out soon. It's going to be based on bullion and really get people educated to understand the real market. And it's like just an understanding of like, okay, most people don't even understand what does spot price mean? What does what does it mean that when you have to pay a premium? What is it? What's a good place to sell? Do I know if it's overvalued or not? All that stuff is going to be in the Academy. We already have some other trainings in there. You have the My Mint Wallet access. You have a training library, a lot of video-led training as well, that teach you everything that you need to know about how to use everything in MintBuilder. Your Sacred Account access. We have sales tips and tools. We have a lot of always having new news coming out about precious metals. We have blogs, and we have a whole benefits section as well. So it's so much stuff here to be able to help you out, in being able to buy precious metals. And if you want to do the business side, it's in there too. Now, I told you we're involved with a nonprofit organization, and your subscription as a basic or a pro member does have a much deeper impact. Now, this organization, I've been involved with them since 2010. I love this organization. They're called Feed My Starving Children, or FMSC, and they are. I went and actually helped package meals with them, and numerous times, and been a part of the organization to see how it works. And they are tremendous. They're in, I believe, 130 countries, and not just third world countries. They're helping feed starving children right here in the United States and the UK and Canada, and even in the bigger countries as well. But the coolest thing about them is that they have a 91% rate. And that means that 91%, 91 cents of every dollar that's put into the program goes directly to creating the food. That is huge. I've seen and been involved myself with nonprofits, 501c3s, and a lot of times it ranges between 50 and 75%. That's pretty normal. If it's running within that range, then it's a fair company. They're doing what they should be doing. But 91% is almost unheard of, and it's because they've partnered with other companies that not only are helping them get delivered without a huge overhead, but also they're helping them get into countries that they're not even allowed to, and not even supposed to be getting in there. And they're basically smuggling food in to be able to feed children. And so they're risking their own lives to do it. And it's a very big organization, and just millions and millions of families. And not only do they feed the starving children, but they also help communities to become self-sustainable, which is the other part that I absolutely love. So you're not just, keep giving them fish or teaching them fish. And that is so cool. They're actually teaching them to be business owners and start their own small business. And of course, that to me is it's just a huge, huge benefit of organizations. So you can be proud to know that you get to be a part of that. So that's really cool. So now I want to talk about the other 14% of the program. We don't just stop with accumulating real assets. We also understand that people are seeking more income, especially today. Having an extra stream of income doesn't ever hurt, especially when you're helping other people protect their own wealth by starting to accumulate silver and gold. So we do have an income platform. It's a referral program, if you will, an affiliate referral program, where you have your own e-commerce branded website. You're going to have your own precious metals shop. So anyone who goes there and makes a purchase automatically credits your account commissions. And you have your own sales team software. You have maintenance is done for you. That's a huge thing. We're kind of a precious metals / technology company. We have full-time IT staff that we've had since the beginning, and they work around the clock. It's a never-ending process when you're dealing with precious metals, live pricing, digital trading, if you will, and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to worry about any of it. We take care of all of the maintenance side, which is a huge overhead if you own your own business. The training is done for you. We have marketing tools, tons of them. We have a free silver lead capture page where we offer a gram of silver to your prospects. We also have autoresponder emails we do for you. Payment processing, as I mentioned, is a big deal starting a business, and we take care of that. Product order fulfillment, you don't have to order the products and then ship it out to your customers. We take care of it all for you on this end. And our commissions are unlimited. Most companies that have affiliate programs oftentimes have a limitation on either how wide you can build an organization or how deep you can do it. Ours is untapped both ways. And we do have an in-depth comp plan training. If you are new to MintBuilder and you want to see that, I just recommend you get back to the person who referred you. They can send you the video that gives you an exact breakdown detail of how you can earn. I'm just going to give you a really quick kind of rough overview. So there's 13 streams of income you can make. You make 10% residual income on the basic and pro memberships or the annual memberships. You make 5% team commissions. That means you're going to get paid from your team that you refer into the business if they so choose to not only be a wholesale customer, but they also want to start referring other people. They're going to make the 10% and you're going to make the 5%. So that's a really nice extra stream of income. On the auto assets, even though that bullion is super low price, like it's super competitive in the market, the best price you're going to find, we're still able to squeeze in a small commission. Now, that's unheard of. I don't know of any other company that's paying commission on bullion, besides the membership, depending on bullion that's not overpriced. I'm talking about bullion that's wholesale priced. So that's a huge deal. Even on the team, if you have a team that's building out as well, we're still going to pay you 0.1% on their referrals assets as well. And then you have 10% on retail sales besides bullion. Bullion is 1%. And then 5% on your team's retail sales and 0.5% on their bullion sales. And then we have this thing called Infinity Bonus, and this covers the next 5 different ways you can earn, because you're earning an extra 5% on this 10 that I was talking about earlier on your third personal. When you get to where you built out a team of 3 personals who are referring the business, then you're going to start earning this extra 5%. And then when they start building out, you're going to be coded to them and make 5%. And again, 2% on the assets that you're going to make. And then we also give you some 50 and 100% matching. Again, there's more details on this if you want to watch the overview video on the exact comp plan training. And then we have a car bonus. It pays you a cool $700 per month. And we have lifestyle bonuses that pay upwards to $1 million. So depending on how much you want to help us to really promote, because here's what we do. People are like, well, okay, you're a precious metals company. Why are you putting so much money into like in a referral program for affiliates? The reason is because This is our marketing. So whereas a company like a competitor of ours, like say Atmex, a huge precious metals company, what they're doing is they're putting 90% of their marketing money into advertising. They're doing the advertising, they're paying advertising. We prefer, instead of just paying advertisers, we prefer to be able to help those who are actually customers and clients of MintBuilder. We want to help them not only accumulate precious metals, but also have an extra stream of income. So you're getting like it's like a coin. You're getting a bonus on both sides of the coin. And so we want to be able to put our money there. Instead of doing the marketing ourselves, we want to be able to pay our clients for marketing our business for us. And so that's why we put all of our marketing budget into an affiliate referral program. So that's it. That is what MintBuilder is all about. If you remember anything, remember this. Right now is the time. Silver especially is undervalued. Gold is undervalued. The stock market's overvalued right now. And the US dollar is in trouble. MintBuilder is the place to be able to buy precious metals cheaper than anywhere else, and to also build and earn extra stream of income if you choose to do that. All of that is housed under one umbrella and one place, and that's the MintBuilder family. And so I want to be able to be the first to welcome you to MintBuilder. I appreciate each and every one of you for being on here tonight. I will stick around to answer any questions that you have. You can go ahead and type them in the chat if you wish. Other than that, I'm going to say thank you guys so much for being on here tonight, and have a really good one, and we'll see you next week.